Luck cannot favor you much longer. You are clever, but you cannot outwit me. And we agreed to be truthful, didn't we? So lying would be a very big mistake. The rules have been set, and I expect you to adhere to them. This isn't just for enjoyment anymore. Look at me. I have put my trust in you, but don't take me as a fool. Just because I have chosen to partake in something so menial doesn't mean I take it lightly. We have a wager in place, and your loss is my gain. I already have an abundance of ideas. I always aim to prove that even in my own inexperience in this modern world, I can triumph over you. And I want to hear you admit defeat, simply because you dislike it. Your begrudging attitude is such a satisfying sight. But that's not what your forfeit will be. That's far too simple. You require something with much more consideration, which I intend to deliver. It'll be quite enjoyable for me. I'll only tell you my idea once I win. Otherwise, I'd only be fanning the flames of your determination for success. Now tell me, do you have any fours? If I hear the phrase "go fish" one more damn time, I'm starting to question your ability to properly shuffle a deck of cards, but surely you're not so incompetent. Such a simple task that I watched you do. So unless you've worked heavily on your sleight of hand, you just so happened to draw cards that were best in your favor. What? You wanted to teach me a new game, and we're playing it. What more do you want? Me complaining shouldn't ruin your ability to play. I most certainly am having fun. I never told you I was going to be enthusiastic or a good sport. I'm not going to force a smile just so you can pat yourself on the back. You should have a more realistic expectation of me by now. Never will I be a delightful, cordial being. Such a deep desire for bloodlust doesn't just disappear because we play a card game. My temper simmers easily beneath the surface, and I won't hide it for your sake. This happens every time you decide to pester me into joining you in another ridiculous method of entertainment. It always ends the same. Going too far, one of us wins, the other gets upset. Then we eventually get over it, and the cycle repeats. Unfortunately, or more so irritatingly, we seem to be evenly matched, at least in these kinds of activities. I don't want you to start overestimating yourself. You're lucky I tolerate you. Otherwise, I would have had to take you as a threat. And before you decide to insult me by insinuating you let me win, I know you give it your all. You try not to show it, but you get just as competitive as I do. I commend you for your ambition, but I refuse to give in, even if things get unruly. Perhaps especially when things get unruly. I thought we learned that from the controller I crushed in my hands. That outburst was particularly over the top, I must admit. I hope the replacement I acquired was adequate. Matters tend to get rather heated and intense in the face of meaningless competition. We really have a bad habit of trying to surpass each other. It can be a bit amusing to see you get so riled up. The look of concentration on your face is adorable. The furrowed brow, the slight pout of your lips, and the times you do emerge as victorious, the triumphant gleam in your eyes, the smug expression. If I wasn't so prideful, I might be inclined to lose more often. But I do not concern myself with a trivial human's happiness. I've seen you smile for much less significant things. It's not about seeing your reaction. It's about the principle. I will not allow you to go unchallenged. I'm aware this could be considered a children's game, but I despise losing. I believe it is your turn. This has gotten ridiculous. You cheated, didn't you? You must have. Fate cannot truly play into your hands that easily. I know that look. Go on. You know you've won. At this point, there's no way for me to overtake you. Insolent little brat. This is why I prefer an activity that requires more mental manipulation, not one that is largely based on luck. It's much more entertaining when it's you I'm playing. Studying your body language, learning your tells. You're so interesting to observe. How you're always just slightly nervous in my presence, no matter how much you try to hide it. You're still susceptible to my intimidation. You still remember the power I hold over you. The closer I get, the more your breathing picks up. You can feel your heart beating faster, and your ability to hold eye contact starts wavering. Isn't that right? You're too easy to read. I've had you figured out, but it doesn't make it any less fun to prey on those weaknesses. Seduction is such a curious way of garnering obedience. It really shows a primal part of human nature. You can't control your attraction to me, but would you really want to? Your longing for pleasures of the flesh has always been so straightforward. Should I indulge you, my dear? After all, I did lose the wager. You can command anything of me. Whether or not I fully comply is yet to be seen. But I'm willing to offer some leeway from my usual stubborn sentiments. Or is submission simply in your nature? Even when I've lost, your mind is still engaged in a much more alluring battle. You can't withstand my influence, and it would be futile to try. I'm too deeply ingrained in your very being. So, will you issue me my penance? Or will I assume my usual sovereignty and show you exactly why you give in to me every time? If you enjoyed this video, then you can subscribe, human. Or perhaps you should order your own custom audio at anigomi.com/commissions. Go on. I'll be waiting.